Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Your Fab Life. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Reagan Charleston. How are you today?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on today to speak to our audience. Our audience is full of career women and different women of different entrepreneurial paths. And so we're always looking for people that maybe they've done a traditional track, but they're also doing something really exciting on the side. So for those of you listening, if you don't already know Reagan, she's most known for the hit Bravo show Southern Charm, New Orleans, where her getting through law school and passing the bar and becoming a lawyer and even launching her jewelry line was on full display during the show, amongst other things. And so,
Yeah,
yes,
among other things. Yeah.
amongst other things. But yeah, you definitely, I mean, you stood out. Like obviously your character really stood out with everything that you did personally and professionally for yourself. So I know a lot of people look up to you. So it's really an honor to have you on the podcast just to talk about a little bit about like your journey and how you got to this point and what you've been up to since then. So my first question is, why did you choose, and you can answer this, both ways, but why did you choose your profession as both an attorney and someone that said, okay, I'm going to jump out there and I'm going to create a product? Why do you think you went down these two paths?
Okay. Well, first, I just want to thank you. That was really nice. Nice introduction. Thank you. I've told the story so many times, and I feel like it wasn't anything that I did conscientiously. It happened. I just was confronted with things in my life and knew that I wanted to do certain things, and I just did it. That's been my number one when an entrepreneur asks me, "What is my best advice?" Start, begin, just go. But back to the beginning, in undergrad, I'd planned on going to law school. I actually taught for Kaplan test prep. I did like SAT, ACT, obviously took the LSAT and was prepared to go to law school. The last thing I needed to do was just submit my application, write my personal statement. And right before I was wrapping all of that up, I met my first husband and kind of ran away with the NFL circus, how I always put it, because I did. I mean, I was very young and we traveled a lot. He was training out of Louisiana. Basically, during the off season, the NFL players just go everywhere. So I kind of went along for the ride. Definitely derailed my professional plans. I don't regret it. I had a blast. I met so many people over the years and got to do so many interesting things, but I was bored. I did not feel fulfilled. I was basically on someone else's schedule all the time. I was on the sidelines. I was just, a helper, a cheerleader. And I'd always wanted to have a business. I knew that when I was at LSU in school, I had thought I was going to start a swimsuit line. I don't know why, but I just did. And I would bead these swimsuits, probably when I was supposed to be studying for finals, but, always finding something else to do. But I always had that creative knack. And my grandparents had a copper sculpture gallery in the French Quarter. So they did these big, amazing water sculptures and all different kinds of metal sculptures, actually. And my grandmother was a very talented painter, and they sold these beautiful works of art all over the world and made a wonderful living doing it. So I had grown up knowing that that was a possibility. I came back from one of my trips to Florence. I studied there and while I was in college. Well, I studied in London, but traveled back and forth to Italy when I was in college for a study abroad program. And it was just always this special, magical place for me. And on one of my trips, I fell in love with this one particular door knocker. And this was actually the first piece that I ever did.
Oh, wow. I love that.
This is the very first one. It's a funny story because I had initially wanted to have this piece carved and I'd asked for it in sterling silver. And I had a budget. I was not working at the time. I was just somebody's wife. I don't even know if we were married yet. I was fiance. I'm not even sure if I was doing anything besides running along with the NFL circus. But I had a budget. I asked for it to be made in sterling silver, and then I get my invoice and it's in solid gold. So I was very surprised, and I'm pretty positive I was very clear about it being in sterling. And I think that after some other things happened with this particular manufacturer, I realized that he was just taking advantage. He was able to mark it up and made a lot more money off of me. But I'm glad I have it. I've held on to it and I've sold them in solid gold, and it's been beautiful, and it's a keepsake, and also a lesson learned to always get things in writing.
Yeah.
And I had this done and started wearing it. People started asking about it. And I realized, oh, okay, light bulb, I need to be selling these. So I very quickly went into a production locally in New Orleans and outgrew that very quickly as well. Started introducing new pieces into the collection. And then I had boutiques that wanted to pick it up. I met the buyer at Louisa Via Roma in Florence when I went back on a subsequent trip. They picked it up. So I really knew I was onto something, because Louisa Via Roma is one of the biggest and most well-known luxury retailers in the world. And the fact that I got their seal and stamp of approval to be carried amongst the best designers in the world was tremendous for me. So I knew I was onto something. Fast forward a few years, I'm working with various production companies. I have been, oh my gosh, so many different TV shows. It takes a long time to get things picked up. It takes a long time to really get that green light that you're looking for. We've been cast numerous times in the city. So while that was going on, I knew that, okay, if I get on TV, I'll be able to grow this company even bigger. This is going to be a huge opportunity. But I was starting to see all of my friends, peers, my brother, his fiance, who's now his wife, pass the bar, graduate from law school, get these great legal jobs. And I was sour grapes. Like, I just felt like I'd missed the boat. I'd missed out. I was mad at myself. I really lamented the fact that I had not followed through with my scholarly plan and had kind of, gone in a different direction. So I was having this conversation with one of my friends and her husband. They're like my mentors. They're just like family to me. And they said, just do it. Just do it, go. And those are the magic words for me. I'm like, just do it. So I went home and I finished my personal statement and my application, and I turned them in like the next day, and was accepted to Loyola here in New Orleans, and started law school like 2 months later. Like, it was,
Oh, wow.
I mean, it happened like that. And I have never been happier. Like, it was, for me, I think, the best time in my life being in law school. I fit right in. I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just, I found my purpose. But I never gave up my business either. I made sure to balance the two, and that can be a total struggle, but I've managed to do it over the years, and just keep plugging away at both.
Do you actually, I mean, because you have so many pieces now, do you actually sit down and like draw it? Like, just imagining the process. You have to say, okay, this is what I'm envisioning. And then maybe you get with someone that draws really well. They kind of make it to fruition, I guess. Like,
I do a little bit of everything. So that was another thing that I had the luxury of doing, because I had so much time on my hands when I was with my first husband. I mean, I would just go off to Scottsdale for like 6 months or 3 months, whatever it was, while we were training, or he was training. And I had nothing to do besides learn how to do these things. I learned how to do all of my graphic design. I learned how to sketch. I mean, I grew up with artists, and my grandmother, I remember, she'd like sit me down and try to teach me, like, the traditional methods of doing things, and painting for beginners, basically sketching for beginners. And I never really got into it. I was never particularly good at it, but I can figure out how to do everything. So I've used projectors. I work from photographs. I work from all different sorts of mediums to come up with, a piece of jewelry that I want to design.
Well, I think there's a hidden gem in what you just said. And I tell people all the time, when you be an entrepreneur, because people are like, I'll just hire someone to do something. I'll hire. And don't get me wrong, you should delegate once you get to a certain level. But the number one rule is try to know how to do everything. So in the event someone is not available, you can still move forward. You're not stuck like, well, I don't know how to do this flyer. I don't know how to do this design. I don't know how to like update my website. Like, just have like, you don't have to be like the best at each of these things, but just have like working knowledge. It really empowers you as an entrepreneur, because you also in the beginning may not have a lot of money to delegate, these roles out in the beginning. And again, and even if And even if you do, I still say I never want to feel like I'm completely dependent on someone, and if they ghost me, like I can't move forward. So I definitely think there's a hidden gem in what you just said about how
No,
it was
it's
almost
so
like,
important.
and it was like almost a blessing in disguise too, I think, because like you said, you didn't realize being married to your first husband would have given you the time, right? All this extra time. Maybe if you had done it another way, you wouldn't have had the time, and maybe wouldn't have, maybe you would have focused on law more and never got to the jury. Like so. I'm also just a firm believer everything happens for a reason. I think even though you
Yes,
lamented it
I
in
am
the
too.
beginning, I
Yeah.
think you lamented it in the beginning. I think it happened in the order it was supposed to happen. So, what would you say is your like favorite part of like your job as an entrepreneur or attorney? Like, what is your like favorite thing? And then what would you say is like the most maybe difficult thing that people may not know?
I'll start with the most difficult thing, and that's balance. And it's balance when I was just a business owner. It's balance when I'm trying to just be an attorney. It's balancing like personal life and all of the different, things that come along with this unique experience that I've had over the past decade, being on television, um, the organizations that I work with. I'm constantly juggling. So that's something that starting your own business, you have to learn how to wear all the hats. And just like we were saying, learning how to do everything, it is essential. It's crucial. You cannot be a business owner if you can't do every single job that is required of your business. It's the only thing that can really propel you ahead. I know with my first law firm that I worked for, the very first thing that my boss did was had me work with the paralegals. And he's like, you start here, you learn how to do everything that they're doing, and you're going to be ahead of the game. And it's really an important thing, no matter whether it's the legal industry or if you're starting a business, like I mean, this was 10 years ago when over 10 years, 12 years ago when I started my business. You can build a website in 20 minutes now. I just put a website together the other day for, we're having a legal conference in New Orleans. The firm that I work for, Ale Stockwit, Creason Overholtz, also has Trial Lawyers of Mass Torts Conference, and we host in Big Sky, and Cabo is actually coming up the first week of December. Fantastic. It's both sides of the bar. We have wonderful federal judges that come speak. So I'm planning a Mardi Gras conference. So it's the TLMT Mardi Gras. And we're going to have everybody come in, and we're riding with the Legion of Mars, which goes back to my first boss I just talked to. It's his Mardi Gras crew. So he's military veteran, and he put together this crew in New Orleans, and we're going to have all the attorneys and judges come in and ride. It's going to be great. I built the website, and this is something that everybody's scrambling. We've all got so much on our plate. It's the holidays. And it's like, hey, marketing, we have this great marketing company, but they have so many different things going on. And I said, you know what? I'll take something off their plate. I'll put together the website. Never thought I'd use that skill as an attorney, but here I am. All of the things I learned as an entrepreneur, I have applied in my legal practice. Be that networking, you have to know how to talk to people if you have a business. You can't hide under a rock and sell something, like offer a service. Like you have to get along with people. That's so crucial. You have to learn how to juggle, web design. You would not think you'd use that. I use it all the time for everything, whether it's putting content together for a PowerPoint or whatever it may be. I feel like everything kind of meshes together, but juggling it all, the balance, that's the most difficult part. My favorite thing about being an attorney is I think the satisfaction that I get from the work. I don't know what it is. Like, I just feel it checks a box for me, and I feel good about the work that we do. I enjoy the goal that we're working towards, helping people. I like talking to my clients. I like to problem solve. I really like this, just the practice of law. I like researching. I like writing. I enjoyed it in school. So the fact that I'm getting to, have the second chapter and do this now is wonderful. As for the jewelry, I love to wear jewelry, and I love to see people wear something that I've made and see how they style it. I like to see them feel good. I can't say enough about what it's like to see a woman wearing, or a man, because they wear my lapel pins and they just love them. It becomes their favorite piece. But to see them enjoying something that we've made, is there's nothing better.
Hmm. I concur.
I'm so
I
long-winded.
yeah, I tell people all the time, if you want to make a lot of money, that's great, but that shouldn't be the reason why you go to law school or be a lawyer. Because there's so many other jobs. You don't have to have as much education. Like it doesn't cost as much, and you could be making
Right.
6 figures, and you don't have to take a bar and do all this extra education. So I'm like, that should not be. It can be one of the reasons, but you legitimately have to enjoy helping people. It sounds corny, but you really do help people like every day. Just like
Every
doctors
day.
use their hands to fix people up. I always say lawyers, we kind of do the same thing, just not like physically. We're helping you with issues that affect your finances or your family or your job or
Absolutely.
things like that. So, love that you said that. And I also concur with you about seeing people with your stuff because I also do a little designing on the side too for different collections with like apparel and things like that. So it's always like really cool to see someone wearing it and loving it. In fact, I went to a random Target and I was wearing one of my t-shirt designs that Kerry Washington had worn. And this girl, and I didn't say it was my designer for, I just let the girl talk, right? So she's like, oh yeah, I saw that on Instagram and I love that. And I think I have a friend that's getting ready to law school. Like, I totally remember seeing that shirt. So I was letting her go. I was like, oh yeah, I designed about it. She's like, no way, this is your shirt. So there is like this, I don't know what it's called because I'm not a doctor, but there's something that goes off in my brain that's, what is it? Melatonin. It's something that releases.
Serotonin release, you get like a serotonin kick from having someone compliment your work.
Yeah,
It's there's
and
nothing
it's
like
just
it.
always like the most random places people will recognize that particular design. Again, because it's, a celebrity board, so maybe people have seen it on social media, right? So just, forever, like it'll be out there in that way, and for people to recognize it, it does make you feel good. It does make you feel like, oh yeah, that's something I should put my hands in and I thought of and I produced. And so with that being said, I do tell people in addition to the gems that we just discussed, that don't reinvent the wheel. Like find people
Oh
that kind of
no, that's another main rule of mine. I am
please
not
go
looking to
out.
reinvent the
Yeah,
wheel.
go out and find people that are doing it. That's part of the reason why I have you on the podcast. So what would you say? I know you said you had family that did sculptures and stuff like that. Would you say you had
Mhm.
kind of like a mentor, especially with the entrepreneurial side? Was there anybody that kind of was like already doing the entrepreneurial thing that you would say that kind of helped guide you or maybe gave you advice or encouraged you?
Not on the business side.
Interesting.
I know. I kind of figured it out on my own. My grandparents were in their 80s when I
Hmm.
started my business, and
Hmm.
I just knew that it could be done. And that was the key thing is like you make something and you sell something. And the rest of it, I just kind of learned and taught myself. But I mean, I didn't really need like someone to be so hands on with me. I grew up in their art galleries and
Right.
studios. So, I mean, like when I was a little girl, I was in and out of their shops, their galleries, watching them create in their studios, and then on the floor with their customers. My babysitter when I was growing up was one of their apprentices that came over to learn how to do these magnificent sculptures. So, I mean, she'd make like little bunnies and I mean, beautiful little things that we still have. She actually did. There's a Quanam statue outside of Houston, and it's like, I don't know, 75 feet tall or something. And she did that. I mean, she was just her name was Chi, and she was from Vietnam, and she babysat me. I mean, I grew up with creatives and was
Hmm.
just always around people that were making things, making artwork,
Hmm.
and making money from it. I mean,
Hmm.
that was something that I just knew could be
So they
done, and I guess,
basically planted the seeds, maybe
yeah,
unknowingly. Like they planted that seeds that you would also be a creative entrepreneur at some point. Like you said, when you're little, you didn't think it would be jewelry. Like you said, you were in school and thought it would
yeah,
be swimsuits at first, right? So like, but it came to fruition in the way it did,
yeah,
and you having people just around you that were already creative entrepreneurs definitely helped you. Definitely.
yeah. I
Um,
leaned into it.
mhm. Yeah. What would you say? We've given a few gems. Is there anything else outside of just like kind of knowing how to balance and work the hats, not reinventing the wheel, just doing it, just getting started. I know these were a couple of your pieces of advice out the gate. Is there anything else if someone is looking to, whether it be jewelry, a clothing line, any, like you said, product, like if someone's coming up with a product and they're listening to this, and maybe they're feeling a little overwhelmed because even though I would say it's easier in this sense to get started because it's like, hey, you can build your own website. They have Chat GPT. They have
Yeah.
AI to create your flyers. There's so much help out there, but at the same time, I think almost it's like almost too much out there. So sometimes people even get overwhelmed, right? So if someone's listening and they want to come out with a product, they have this idea, like what else is another piece of advice that maybe you wish you knew out the gate, or maybe you use for yourself?
Well, I mean, just going back to like the day and age that we live in, like Chat GPT, building websites, like we have all of these tools available to us now. And I saw something the other day and it listed out all of the different, like apps that are available. If you're not making money like on the side at home, like you're doing it wrong. Like we have all of these amazing tools available to us. Canva. If you don't have Canva for your graphics and your content, you're missing out. If you're going to start a business, get to know Canva. Chat GPT is great. I was not into the whole idea of AI. The concept of it was like triggering. I just didn't couldn't get down with it. It was like crypto, and like now I'm a crypto attorney, and I get it. But it's like I think that everything just seems so like insane, when you start talking about it and you're exposed to it for the first time. But I started using Chat GPT for my copy, and that's like you don't need to hire like a copywriter, and not a copywriter in like the legal sense, but like somebody that writes copy for you.
Right,
Like
for
you can
you.
do all of your brand descriptions and marketing and like all of your sales posts, and all of that's in Chat GPT. You learn the prompts. Like those things are so crucial. I learned how to use Photoshop because I'd have to remove the background from my jewelry images. And there was a service that was available, but sometimes it would take them like, 3 extra days to get it to me, and I needed it on the spot. So I had to learn how to use Photoshop myself. It's just like learning how to use the programs that are available to you. Another piece of advice, one of my girlfriends gave to me, I met her in Italy. Her name's Nick Still, and she designs shoes. She's got this company called Viaggio. And she was a journalist. She worked for Times Magazine. She opened up this company and store in Florence, Italy. She literally like got burned out, and she said, I want to design flats, because she was sick of wearing heels. She could never find a good flat. She was running, traveling, running through airports. So she moved to Italy and started a shoe company. Like, overnight she did this. And she gave me a piece of advice. I met her around like 2013, and I had just started my company. And she said, get to know the other people in your community that have businesses. Ask their advice. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Who do you know that does this? Who do you know that does this? How did you do this? Like, people are very generous with their time and also their, the lessons that they've learned. I know that was huge for me. And also just asking, do you want to work on this together? Do you want to collaborate on something? I have a line of fine jewelry coming out with Jack Sutton in New Orleans. We just got our first piece back. It is unreal, and he's like the diamond king, okay, in the South. Like everything is beautiful. He and his partner Ruth make the most amazing jewelry. They have a store in New Orleans and in Aspen. So we have this like crazy collection of gold and diamond pieces coming out. It's just, making the move. Do it. Ask. Like the only thing someone can tell you is no. Like that's so what? Like you don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like, oh, I don't know what they'll think. Who cares? Say like, hey, I've got this great idea. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about it. Send the email. Like my uncle always said, like walk into the room and slam the door. Like it's just kind of like having that like gusto and that mentality that, you own the space that you're in and you're confident. And I think that comes through in business too. If you're like asking the questions, you have the upper hand. And if you're worried starting out, don't be. It's easy. It's all easy.
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings was one of this, just like, oh, I guess she just thinks I'm too ambitious. She's like, 'cause she's very like, had a 9 to 5 government job, did very well for herself. So that's like the only world she really understands. So this whole entrepreneurial thing, is she's like, she always looks at me like a crazy person, but I think she's starting to get it more now. She's starting to get it more now that she's witnessing at least some of my success. I think she's starting to get it. But what I also tell her is I don't turn myself down. Like I never tell myself no. Like if
No.
somebody else wants to tell me no, fine. But I'm not gonna like go in and be like, oh, they may say no. Like just ask and, see what happens. So yeah, definitely concur with that. What would you say? Because again, you wear two hats. You're an entrepreneur, that has a product. You're also an attorney.
Mhm.
If you hadn't become an attorney and you hadn't become, like this jewelry entrepreneur, what do you think you would have done? Was there anything else you think you would have done?
I don't I don't think no, I don't think that there was any other plan for me.
Mhm.
I always wanted to be an attorney. Well, that's not true. Since I've been an adult, I wanted to be an
Okay.
attorney, or at least like, a young adult. I started out pre-med at LSU and I hated it. And like, I mean,
You're like,
within the
nope.
first semester, it's like, this is not for me. I ran for the hills and changed my major, but I knew
Hmm.
at that moment, like, I evaluated my strengths, and by the end of the first semester, I was like, okay, I am excelling in history and literature, and I've got these great poli-sci classes, and sociology was like I loved it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to law school. Like, forget med school. I don't think I'm into this. I probably could have stuck it out because now I'm working for this mass torts firm. So we do complex litigation and defective drugs and defective medical devices. And I found myself over the last year since I've been working with this firm reading a lot of scientific literature. And I realized I'm pretty good at it. I'm good at breaking it down. I'm good at digesting it and understanding it. And I was like, I think I could have been a doctor. Maybe I just gave up too soon, but I really
Well, you know
like.
what? You're a doctor of law, so that's close
Yes,
enough.
yes, I am. I have my Juris Doctor. So
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, here on the podcast, we obviously celebrate women in their different career fields and their different entrepreneurial paths, but we also celebrate women that know how to take care of themselves. They look great. I always say people see you before they hear you. So even if you are the smartest, you know the most, whatever, if you don't present a certain way, they may not even get to the information. And
absolutely.
so all of the women that we come on are super stylish like yourself, super beautiful like yourself. So we always want to just like, tap into what maybe you guys use and like. So I'll start off with what is your favorite um, makeup brand and maybe like hair care brand?
Okay, I love Redken. I'm a Redken girl, have been for like years and years and years. I actually, one of my good friends, Megan, has her own makeup line, and so I'm wearing like all of her stuff right now. And her company's Makeup by Megan. She's in New Orleans. She's another entrepreneur. She started doing makeup like as a makeup artist like 10 years ago, and she's just been rolling out incredible product after product after product, and I'm obsessed.
Mhm.
Um, my other favorite makeup, if I have to go to like my tried and trues, I love L'Oreal mascara. Voluminous is like my mascara. I love drugstore liquid eyeliner. I will never give it up. I think I'm using like Infallible, like the felt tip. Love it. I'm getting my hair done today. I'm like not into my hair right now. I pulled out my extensions myself, cut my hair off myself. I just got like burned out with it, but I think I'm gonna go back to the extensions. It's just I don't know. It makes me feel good. I think that's all it is. It's like a security blanket. I'm missing them a lot right now.
What would you say is your favorite, like, not so much makeup, but skin? Like, do you use anything to like clear skin? Do you have like a go-to?
I use tretinoin every day. I'm trying to get back into putting it on every day. And then I use like hyaluronic acid serums, vitamin C serum.
Hmm.
I love, is it, it's the little Nivea. I think it's the
Hmm.
Nivea cream, the
Hmm.
blue.
The
I,
blue.
oh my God, I have the jar like this big. I have the little like tiny ones. I keep it everywhere. I use it all day. I just slather it all over myself. It's
Hmm.
like $6 for the huge like jar. I love it. It's supposed to be the same ingredients as La Mer, except it doesn't have like the sea kelp or whatever.
Hmm.
But I mean, I love it. So I'm like a big like high-low person. Like I love Bethany Frankel's videos where
Hmm.
she's like, the expensive shit, is it worth it? And she goes through and says yes or no. I'm like, I'm into that because I think that there are some really good like bargain, like the voluminous mascara. It's $7 a tube, better than anything else I've ever used. um yeah, drugstore everything like mascara, eyeliner. eyelashes. I'm totally there for it.
Right. Now, what about in terms of like clothes? Do you have like a go-to designer that you kind of like, okay, I know for the most part I could go to this designer and find something that I like?
I don't have like a go-to so much as I have like favorite like staple things. Like
Okay.
I
Makes
am a
sense.
white button-up girl. It for suits though, like I've always loved Alice and Olivia. I love Theory. Like those are just predictable. I love Rag and Bone. Rag and
Mhm.
Bone's great. I collect perfect things. So I don't care where it comes from. Like I love Zara. Like I'll go run into
Mhm.
Zara and get all of the things I need for a work trip like that. I I guess with that being said, if I had to go like super high end, I love a Dolce and Gabbana dress. I think they're so sexy. They always fit the
Mhm.
body so well. But denim, like Levi's. I just love a good pair of Levi's. Like the wedgie jean from Levi's is my favorite. A white button up. That's what I'm wearing right now. Like,
I was gonna say you're wearing what you're talking about.
yeah, I mean, I live in a white button up. It's like my favorite thing to wear. I want to actually design a line of white button ups to
You
carry in my store.
should. Look, you heard it here first. So if you see it, you heard it here first.
Well, I mean, I'm spending my money on them, so I might as well be making money from it because I have like the largest collection of white button ups ever. So I might as well just like start selling
Yeah,
them.
no, for sure. I love what you said, even with makeup. You were mentioning something about high and low. I do that with my clothes. Like I can have a
Yeah.
really
Oh, yeah.
expensive heel and just have on like an H&M like skirt or something like that. Like I like to like do high and low with the designs as well.
Yeah.
If you could,
Shoes, there's no room for like cheap shoes. Like, I think you have to, if you're going to splurge, it
Mhm.
needs to be shoes and bag. Like,
These are, mhm.
staples. You're carrying them every day. You're wearing them every day. You want them to be quality. You want them to look good, and you'll feel better about yourself. I mean,
And I
they're
think in
going to be,
business, my mom says people look at like, I think they say they look at your shoes, your bag, it maybe like your watch, something like that. Like they look at
yeah.
those things. So if you're going to spend the money, spend it on that. I agree. If you could only choose 5 items to put in your purse, what would it be?
Oh my God. My cell phone. I'm
Mhm.
not leaving anywhere without my cell phone. I mean, are you want me to go for like necessities? Because I'll tell you what goes in my clutch. I get my cell phone, my passport, because you never know, um, credit card, and lip plumper. Is that what that's for?
Or,
Sometimes
mhm.
lip liner or lipstick. I feel like I can do both with gloss and liner.
Mhm.
But
Okay. So those are your
that's in
go-tos.
my
Like I
bag.
have to have those things. Okay, very cool. Um, is there before we go, is there anything else you would like to tell the audience about? I know you kind of said that you may be working on a white button up because you wear them so much, but is there anything else kind of like actively going on? I know lawyers always like referrals in terms of like the area of law you practice if someone needs help in the New Orleans area. Like, is there anything else you would like to plug?
Yeah, so I do a lot of work in the sex abuse field, and we sue entities that have facilitated the abuse of young people in particular. And we're utilizing the look back windows to bring suit, and they're all over the country. But with that being said, we work in all areas of sex abuse. I think that's something that I'm really passionate about. And we work with children. So we are also pursuing, we have a large litigation practice, and MDL is consolidated actions, large scale litigations. Like, you know, if you are watching TV late at night, it's like, you know, did you take this drug and have you experienced that?
Mhm.
It's typically an MDL. And it's not just in the pharmaceutical arena. Like if you've heard about the lawsuits against the social media companies because
Mhm.
they're addictive for young people,
Mhm.
I'm working
Mhm.
on that litigation too. And I
Okay.
love social media, but I am not a child. So, you know, I mean, there is a problem that young people are becoming addicted to these apps, and there's no way for parents to manage it. But with that being said, I'll go on and on about my litigations forever. But if you're an attorney and you're looking at these cases and you come across someone that has experienced one of these injuries, reach out to me. We can help you. We are on leadership for just about everything. My firm just settled the 3M lawsuit, which was the largest MDL in history, and it
Okay.
settled $6 billion. So tremendous. So send us your cases. You can reach out to me on Instagram or you can email me. We love referrals. If you hear of a product or you think of something that's going on, like I'd love to work through your ideas and, class actions. If you hear of something first, like, let me
Mhm.
know. We do class action, we do mass tort, we do everything in the complex litigation arena.
What are you on social media? Just give people are you Reagan Charleston on pretty much
Yeah.
everything? And then also your jewelry, it's Reagan Charleston jewelry, correct?
Yep. I'm
Okay.
at Reagan Charleston, and then my jewelry brand is at Reagan Charleston Jewelry. It's
Yeah.
very ezy to find me.
Yes, very easy to find you. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Like I said, I always I'm like, who have I already kind of sort of run cross paths with that's kind of doing what I would like to interview on, and you definitely came to mind. And so it's nice to meet you virtually. Justin is still trying to get me to come to New Orleans. I said I would eventually do Essence. That's probably what I'll
You
come
have
for.
to.
But yeah, I definitely have to come. Like New Orleans is definitely a bucket list place, but we appreciate like all your insight. We'll definitely make sure we plug everything in the description regarding your jewelry and your firm and everything like that, so people can continue to follow along in your journey. Hopefully, we'll maybe even see you on TV again soon because you have such a great TV face. So, anyway,
Thank
thank you
you.
again for joining us, and until next time, this has been Your Five Life. Thanks, everyone.